It's time to get into it.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends.
It's
Brought to you by DrRoto.com.
So let's get to it. Bring the bang! What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah! That's right, we're back for another Ultra Contrarian show. Ooh, yeah! What's up, Steve? How you doing today, man? Crazy day. It's Saturday. It's not too bad. Let's have some fun today, right?
You know, we gotta love Saturdays. We got the weekends, man. Who doesn't love a Saturday? You know, unless you work Saturdays, which I used to sometimes, and I still do sometimes. But Saturday night, we got some NBA coming up. We got football tomorrow. Early morning football again. You know, if you're an early riser, we got a game I think in somewhere in Europe, and but I'm ready to get to some NFL talk, man. Hey, I hope you guys have been paying attention. My Fuego Pick of the Week nailed it again. Drake London. I hesitated, but I stuck by it.
3 touchdowns, 4% owned. You almost had as many touchdowns as percent. That is what the Ultra Contrarian and that is what the Fuego Pick provides for people every single week. I can't stress it enough that, at Dr. Roto, it's all one ingredient. You get the first look. You get Danger in the guys looking over the slates, doing the review. They're about to go live at 9:15 tonight for any given Sunday. It's their single entry DFS slate. But first of all, this is the 700th episode of a podcast on Dr. Roto's website. So the podcast tonight, any given Sunday, will be 701. But man, this is a celebration. We're all happy. We're all intense. And we got a great slate. There's some nuggets. There's some nuggets because some trades that I've been looking at. But I want to talk about the NBA and promote that product for a few seconds before we move along to a few questions we already have in the comments. And then we're getting to the show so that we can provide everybody what they're here for, which is your core four, the Fuego Pick of the Week, a lineup. We're going to give out optimized lineup as well, too, by DFS Hero. If you get over to their site, use code word DOC, you'll get 20% off. Also, we will end the show with the Ultra Contrarian Lineups. That's how we're doing it. All right, brother, man. Tell us about your 2 first-place finishes and how the NBA product has been killing it at the NBA beginning of the year.
Well, you got me, you got Willie, you got Steve Bell, you got some others giving NBA picks. Steve Bell's focusing on prop picks. I'm doing a lot of DFS, specifically DraftKings right now, just because of the state that I'm in. I can't play a lot of some of the other sites. But I had 2 first-place finishes in 4 days in a 25-cent contest. 1,200 people, 2,000 people. I came in first. I came third. I came in fourth. I came in fifth. I came in seventh. I came in ninth. I destroyed it. And these are 25-cent entry, people. This is not I told you yesterday I was tempted to pay that $250 qualifier. I would not have done well, And but you're talking about, I entered some late night contests. I got them a little late in Discord, so I apologize. But this is very surprising for the beginning of the NBA season too, because you got injuries. We always say that the NBA season doesn't start till Christmas, really. Mm-hmm. But 2 right. I was in for let's see. One of them I had. I did the max. I did the 20 max, 25 cents. So you know what? That's $5. I got back $25. Came in first, third, and fifth. I think. I did another 25 cent. Came in third, fourth, seventh. We're not talking a lot of money. And then I even played the $1 single entry. If I would have put that number 1 lineup, I would take it home almost $1,000. In that single entry. It's still I think I won $20 off of $2 or $6. So the NBA, I'm on fire right now. I don't know why. I don't know whether I'm just seeing clearly. I don't know whether it's I don't know what it is, but the beginning of the NBA season is really hard, and I am just on fire. I mean, I've come in first place before in my life. Not to toot my own horn, plenty of times. I was in second. Those are the worst in qualifiers. When you come in second in a qualifier, oh my god, those are the worst. I can't tell you how many times that happened. But two first, and again, people, we're not talking about the $20 milli maker. We're not talking about the $15, 150 entry. You can do, the one I had 7 entries in the 25 cents. That's not that much money, and I paid like $20-some. So pay attention to my. Looking for my lineups in Discord. I'll get you them. And you don't have to enter that much money. And then, let's say you want to pay the 20 lineup max. Look at what I did. Let's say you want to go for a little bit higher. Take what I'm giving you my core. I'm giving you my core, and my core hit again yesterday, for the most part. And, and those tough slates, those big slates are not my jam. I admit it. Those big slates are a lot, but I still did well on them, and pay attention to when I get those small slates, man. I am money on those small slates. I'm going to try to get you those short winners.
I'm going to throw in, man. Like, we've been able to create some magic in the subs only Discord at Dr. Roto. So, of course, if you're not a member, get over to Dr. Roto, use the code word WIN, and get a percentage off of your subscription and get into the Discord alone. Because me and Steve really hit these late night games. Sometimes it's a 2-game slate. Sometimes it's a showdown slate. Kind of like puts everything together. I've also been hitting the hockey as well too, been putting in some lineups that have been hitting the cash games in the hockeys, but of course sometimes this is hard. You have to know about line shifts and things like that. So when Mark and Kick are in the hockey room, it's definitely great to take advantage of that as well too. So even late night, you're getting this action. Right now, we have the UFC going in it right now. And one of my DFS hits has already hit Barcelos. Of course, Ricky Simon was my pick that lost on the 5-leg pick in the subs only Discord at Dr. Roto. But round robin, you got 4 out of 5 legs right. It returned way more money than I put in. And so that is the magic that we continue to create at Dr. Roto. The office is always open. We want you to be our rich friend. But man, we are hitting on every cylinder. So before we get into the show, did you want let's answer a couple questions. We got questions already loaded into the chat before we even went live. So thank you, Bowser777. Make sure you like, share, follow us, man, and follow Bring the Pain, Heat Override, because that's how you're going to get all of your action. But we got it. Said, should I start Jalen Hurts or Caleb Williams? Tough call. I think me and my opponent are evenly matched, but Yahoo says I only have a 30% chance of winning. Of those two quarterbacks, who would you go with, Hurts or Caleb Williams?
Oh, man, that's a tough call. I love it's hard to go against Hurts, I clicked on my wrong thing. Sorry. I'm, Chris Kennedy rankings has Hurts 8 and Caleb Williams 9. So that's a really tough call.
Yeah.
That could be a personal decision. I kind of like them both this week. I mean, if you're talking, I don't know, man.
It is a hard question. It is.
So I'm going to go Hurts just because I think he has that, upside type potential. You know what I'm saying? The running ability.
Yeah, I like that upside too. Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? So if you gun to my head, I'm going Hurts, but that's a really tough question.
I agree with that 100%. I am also going to lean Hurts, and that is as well. If you followed my podcast or any of my shows, the reviews, you have known that over the last couple weeks, Caleb Williams has grown on my backside. I am done. I've picked him off, and I have left him in the dust I don't want anything to do with him. I don't care if he puts up 24 points. For a seasonal team, this is different. But as Steve said, I agree with that. I just feel that the ceiling and even the basement is better for Hurts because the Philadelphia Eagles have to win this game because this is when you need to start winning these games against teams like the Packers for playoff seeding. And after the trades they made, bringing in Jalen Phillips, he may not get 100% snap share. That's going to be able to help them, with that game and in Green Bay. Because you're going to look at, this could turn into one of those really slow moving games where Saquon and Jacobs get it moving, so there might not be a lot of action. But when you get near the goal line, you can trust that they're going to push Hurts in that end zone. Whereas Williams, sometimes it could be Swift, it could be Mungai, it could be anybody. So for me, I'm going to take the guy I know has a knack for the end zone, both from his arm and his legs. I'm going with Hurts, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about this before, but I hate that term, the tush push. When I was a center in high school, believe it or not, I was a center, 5'7", 100 nothing pounds. We called it the silent sneak, and the tush push is I just hate that name, but we called it the silent, which I love the silent sneak. That was one of my favorite plays.
I do like that more.
What's that?
I like that more. Hashtag silent sneak.
Silent sneak.
Silent
yeah.
sneak.
The silent sneak. The tush push is such a weird freaking name, man.
Hey, I'll keep those comments to myself. Anyway, anyway, because we try, like, we get so I got bring the pain. We get a little crazy on here, but let's get it. So we got. All right, so
a much better term, the silent sneak.
The silent sneak. All right, so I do agree. Your buddy Bowser said that he wanted to join DraftKings under your friend's invite. That's the best way, in my opinion. You got to look at either the sportsbook side or you can look at the DFS side. But whatever site you get on, get that, and then you're going to need to use that money within a certain time period. That's when you can just hit us up and we'll be able to help you out with that. But I definitely do agree with that, man. So
yeah, get on all those sites. It's football season, it's NBA season, it's hockey season. We got my boy Ted. He's writing an article for F1. All these seasons, all these things get promos. Do this promo, do that promo, do this promo. Look for your best promo. Some you get 20, some you get 10, some you get, and remember, some only up to a match. So you don't have to deposit $100. You could deposit the 10. I get the match, you get the match. By the way, you can use code Fuego. You also get 20% off on the NBA products, I've been in Fuego, so get in there.
That's right. All right. Well, we got some crazy. Like I said, Barcelos on the UFC DFS slate, 22% owned. That was a recommended play and was also part of my write-up. That is amazing. I love it. My other underdog that was a cheaper play was, of course, Tisha Pennington. And Pennington did lose her match, but she went distance. She did work hard. She got around 30, 40 points, depending on the site. So, again, we are firing on all cylinders. I want to throw in a quick thing, too. When Danger goes live tonight, remember that in the offseason, Danger and Coach Al will be doing their PGA stuff, which is straight on. We will have hopefully some NASCAR coverage at that time, and you will still have UFC coverage. But first, we got Week 10 in the NFL, Steve. Are you ready?
I'm ready. How about you, man?
I'm so ready I could just spit the split. Ooh, yeah.
We have fun on Bring the Pain.
Look at the NBA lineups. I love it, man.
Yeah. We're going to have to get those late lineups in. That's why we want to get it in. All right. Look, I don't care what people say. We know that I'm crazy and we know I like to pay down. But my boy, Jacoby Brissett, has stepped onto the scene and is producing DFS-wise. DK, 4,600. FanDuel, 6,900. I am paying that because even if he gets me 12, 13, 14 points, I know that I'm getting a value in the money that I'm going to need to be competitive on this slate. Outside of Josh Allen, and I'm going with Jared Goff as my other two picks. Who are some of the guys you were looking at for this main slate in quarterback?
Those are good cash game plays. And if you haven't paid attention yet, he gives you the cash game. I give you the let's go for it and get that money in the thing. In the GBBs. Brissett, good cash game play. My quarterback, once again, I'm looking at Sam Darnold. I'm looking at Jackson Dart. I think they're great plays. You can match them up with certain receivers. So at that 57, 5,800 range, I really like that. For GPPs, because I feel like they have the high side. You can play them cash games too. You're going to pay a little bit more money, of course. Jackson Dart. Again, I like what's his face, Jones.
Mac Jones for San Francisco.
Is he on the main slate? Daniel Jones for the Colts.
No, he's not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking at
that's the full game slate he's on.
Yeah. I mean, you want to pay up for Allen, you want to pay up for Jackson, you could. Stafford, my boy Stafford's been lining it up against San Francisco. You could play Stafford and run it back with McCaffrey. I like May against Tampa Bay. Those are on the high end.
Yeah.
Daniels is out. Mariota, I think, is a pretty good cash game play, personally. You know what I'm saying? Golf versus Washington's a good play. But, under that 6,000, Golf, Darnold, Dart, not a big Bryce Young fan this week.
No.
Yeah, no, he hasn't been producing. Mariota, that's not a bad cash game. But for me, for GPP, I'm looking at Golf, Darnold, Dart. If you want to pay up for May, I'm okay with that. Stafford's not a bad play.
No.
He's been doing it. If you want to pay up for him, he's got 2,147 yards, 21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This is Matt Stafford. He's quote unquote old for a quarterback. We thought, he was injured at the beginning of the year. Is he going to come back? He's got one of the best receivers, if not the best receivers in the league. Oh, poor guy has negative. He's got -6 rushing yards. Yeah, that's probably a lot for Stafford, -6. But 2,147 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He's had a 10-point game, right? But every other game he's gone 26, 27, 29, 30, 14, 18, 13. Those were all the beginning of the year. He has been on fire. So if you want to pay up for him, I'd almost pay more for him than I would Lamar Jackson. He's been on. But I think I'm going to keep it at that 59, 58, 5,700 with the Golf, Darnold, Dart range.
I love it. I exactly agree with you. There is a play that I do. I will say when we get to that position. All right. So I'll take over there. And so we're moving along. We're going to do running backs. Running back Quinshon Judkins. I waited all week for Quinshon Judkins to get that questionable tag off of him. He got the questionable tag off of him. I rarely go in on a running back like this, but at DK 6,500, FanDuel 7,600. FanDuel literally has a lot of running backs over 8,000. So you're gonna need to find people to save you money. I have a guy when we get to that next position for everybody. But I was looking at Quinshon Judkins. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if James Cook goes off again. Buffalo needs to keep winning because they're sick of and tired of the Patriots leading the division right now. So the Bills know it's go time, especially after waxing the Chiefs. They are in it. But other running backs, the macho pick of the week is Derrick Henry. Love him. He's right around that $6,000, that $6,600 range. That's it. He's 68, and Kyron Williams is 66, and Judkins is 65. So when everybody's looking at those running backs, they're going to start looking. Low end, I like Tyrone Tracy. Who are you looking at running back wise for this slate this week?
I like all those guys you mentioned. Judkins, 13 on Chris Kennedy's rankings. Derrick Henry, 12. Who was the third you said?
It was Kyron Williams, and then
James Cook will be number 5.
Yep.
Kyron Williams. So these are in PPR rankings. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Kyron Williams, 11. These are all top 12 running backs. We love top 12 running backs. Cash game, George. We don't want to play a number 40 running back in a GPP. Now, maybe in a cash game where he's blah, 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 it's getting split carries, something like that. But in GPP, you don't want to play guys that are ranked in the 40s when you got 20-some teams that are playing, or 10 teams that are, 20, blah, blah, blah. So all those guys, I like all of them. Judkins, I like, he's in my IDP league, and he's kicking some butt.
Got a juicy matchup. Who do you love, buddy?
Who we talked about a few weeks ago, who I came off of, who I'm back on? Rico Dowdle.
Oh, Rico Dowdle.
31 DK points, 25 attempts, 130 yards. Is Hubbard out? I don't know. Let's see. Is Hubbard out? He's not out, but he only had 5 attempts last week.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Freaking difference. They've seen something in Dowdle they like. He's very high on Chris Kennedy's rankings this week. I think he's in, let's see, he's number 6 in a PPR, and DraftKings is a PPR. He's number 6. I backed off him a few weeks ago. I'm not backing off him this week. The coaches
I agree with that.
He's younger, he's faster. Hubbard's going to get some of the, mix it up thing. But Dowdle, I mean, again, I backed off him. I don't think I'm backing off. 25 carries, 130 yards, 5.2 average, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions. He's now up to 735 yards for the season, 5 touchdowns, averaging 15.6, but that's with a 5 and a 4. I mean, you can do a 31, a 36, a 35 for GPPs. I like Dowdle again. Dude. I also like your boy, like you said, Kyron Williams. He's a good play.
He's solid. He's solid. I want to say, go back to Dowdle. Dowdle, with all those running backs that we are talking about around the 6,000, everybody can only start 3 of them. I think Dowdle's probably the least owned one of all those running backs. So I feel that that could be a great sway on the GPP slates so that you can get that lower percentage. And I think Dowdle is that guy.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. I like Williams. I like Henry. I like Judkins. I like Breece Hall. I'm not sure about the White. Tracy's decent. Of course, I would pay for McCaffrey again. He is going against a tough D, but he's been on fire. I mean, he's 9,000, which isn't even crazy for him. Gibbs, another tough matchup, but he's 8,000. You could pay for him. Cook, like you said, 7,500 going against Miami. I think that's a real great play. That is a real. I think I'd rather play Cook over McCaffrey or Gibbs. With potential upside and floor, a chain. I like, we've talked about this. You always got to like the top running backs in the league. It's a passing league now. I get it, but the guys that get the carries, they're going to win you GPPs. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
They're going to win.
That's right.
Play a guy that's going to get 5 carries at running back to win you a GPP. Now, you can play a receiver that's going to get 5 receptions and 2 of them are 60-yard touchdowns. But so, Henry, Judkins in that lower range, I really like. Breece Hall. That's what I'm looking at this week. But Dowdle, I think Dowdle, Williams, Judkins, I like Dowdle.
I love it. I love it. And you brought up a certain guy when you brought up Gibbs. You brought up why I mentioned Jared Goff earlier. As we move along to the wide receivers, I am featuring Amon-Ra St. Brown. Detroit got punked by the Vikings. And I do like J.J. McCarthy, and I do love a certain receiver for J.J. McCarthy. There is no hiding on that. But at 8,400 on DraftKings and 9,300 on FanDuel, I feel that you're going to be able to maybe get St. Brown for 15%, 20%, maybe even less. When we talk about these guys, they seem to pop at 10. I feel that the Detroit Lions, even though Goff on the road he can be golfable, he's going to win this game big. Washington just got destroyed in the air in the secondary. So that being said, I love the fact that the way Detroit's going to get this going is work, pound it hard with Montgomery, use Gibbs the way they need to use Gibbs, and start hitting those slants with Amon-Ra St. Brown so that it opens up. A couple other receivers I do like. Of course, I'm looking at I like Wan'Dale Robinson when you were bringing up Jackson Dart. I love him, but I'm going to tell you right now, there are, and I will bring this up. There are 3 receivers, four. Torrey Horton being removed was one of the biggest things, but around 4,700, you have Parker Washington, Juwan Jennings, Tez Johnson, Kendrick Bourne. Those 3, which were 4, those 3 guys are going to define this week's DFS slate. Watch me, because it's going to be one combination of using one of those guys to get them cheap to allow you to get to other pieces, and I got people for that. Steve, who are you looking at on the wide receiver side?
Going backwards first, I 100% agree. Juwan Jennings. Let's see. Parker Washington. Let's see. I just had Jennings 31 in Chris Kennedy's ranking in a PPR. These are guys that are going to allow you to get to the St. Browns, the Nakuas, the Jeffersons, the guy that I love. Those are the guys who play at the lower end. Whether it be a cash game, whether it be a GPP, whether they're high owned or not, it's okay. The top end, once again. I love Justin Jefferson. He hasn't had some huge games recently, but look at his opponent, my Ravens. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. JJ McCarthy, came through. He did really well last week. He was definitely a DFS slate guy for me and a showdown slate guy for me as well too. Last week, it's something I've always told myself to do. I need to play more daily showdown slates during the day because I hit so many on those so most of the time. Plus, the more you kind of play, of course, you're putting more out, and it's harder to hit on the slowdown slates. But if you hit one just right, then you're going to be looking at 25, 30, 40 bucks walking into the night games, and you'll be able to use that on your Sunday, Monday night slate. So that's something, we talk about building the bankroll.
Yeah, and pay attention to my showdown slates as well. I've won, besides live finals, I won probably more money in my career in showdown slates because with my ADHD, it's hard for me to focus on 20 games sometimes.
Yeah.
But
it gets a little crazy.
I can focus. But look at this. Justin Jefferson. Is he one of the best receivers in the league? Absolutely, right? He has 47 receptions, 649 yards, and only 2 touchdowns. He's playing my Ravens. This is a reverse homer pick. Is this a game he explodes for 2 or 3 touchdowns and 200 yards? Very, very possibly.
That's
very
what
possibly.
I'm looking at.
I know the Ravens are getting healthier, but, this look, I like Justin Jefferson. Some of the other high end, St. Brown, I like for sure. Adams, Bugma for Tampa Bay. Buga, yes. But those are some plays, and but another guy The guy I really like again is JSN. JSN, baby.
Going in.
Dude, he's on fire. He's averaging 24.5 DK points, 58 receptions, 948 yards, 118.5 yards per game. And he, quote unquote, only has 4 touchdowns through 8 games. He throws on another targets. 9, 14, 13, 9. They're just insane. I mean, and that's the same with Jefferson. You know, when you're talking about these big guys that sorry, I'm looking on the wrong thing here. When you're talking about these Nakua, 8 targets, you know, I think you could play him this week. But I might go down to St. Brown, 13, 10, 10, 9. Jefferson, 9, 11, 11, 11. Even Devontae Adams, Nakua out 7, 6, 10, 9. You know, Buga 9. These targets are what we are looking for in wide receivers. So I really like those guys on the high end this week. In the middle end, you know, Odunze again. I think Odunze could have a good game. I'm not positive. He is playing, right?
It could be a shootout. It all depends because the Giants play really strong defense down low. And if Caleb Williams doesn't get a lot of time to throw, I don't think he's going to have time to set up those long throws to Odunze. So for me, that's it. I also want to throw in a what's up, Dan? How you doing? Real quick, we'll get back to that. I'll let you get out, but it's great to see you. The UFC is kicking off, man. So go on, Steve. Talk a few more about where you were going with the receivers.
Just a couple more of the middle guys. I like my guy Zay Flowers against Minnesota. To be honest with you, he's getting the targets. He's still. We've talked about this for a couple years now. He's not getting in the end zone because he'll get these like long plays, but he's got 46 receptions, 550 yards, averaging 13.9, 11, 14, 9, 12, 12, getting the targets. I like Zay Flowers. You know, so, and then if you're playing dart, like we talked about, Wandale Robinson, 11 targets, 4 targets, 12 targets, 7. If you're playing dart, pair him up with Robinson. He only has 2 touchdowns again, but he's got 540 yards, you know, getting the targets. Chicago D, which we've already talked about, can give up the yards and plays. So if you're playing dart, pair him up with Robinson. And then I like those low guys you like. Yep.
Yeah, and you know, my prediction for Zay Flowers on the year was 84 receptions. He's clearly on the way to doing that, and he was part of my AFC North breakout candidates. That's how we do it at Dr. Odo. Yeah, I love that you brought that up.
Get in the end zone, and we know he can. It's just, you know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now let's get to it. Because I think there's some value, there's some gameplay theory here that we got. There's some people that are going to be running to it. We're talking about the tight end position. I'm looking at Mason Taylor. Every time the Jets are competitive, Mason Taylor is a big part of it. 3,200 on DraftKings and 5,000 on FanDuel. Now, as a sway, of course, McBride is going to be a huge play for me I'm rolling with Brissett. So you know I'm looking at McBride as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think a lot of people will be on Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think more people will be on the actual Trey McBride side. Kittle has come up as a huge discussion right now. So a lot of people are going to be talking about Kittle. I'm fine with all those plays, but when I come down to my 3,200 area, you got your boy Andrews. I'm looking at Tyler Higbee at 2,900 on DraftKings as a sway. If you pop off of Tyler Higbee, he gets one of those 4 reception, 40 yards, 1 touchdown game because the Rams really do have to win this game. They're going to be out. They got punked on Thursday night in LA last time. That did not settle well with me or any other Ram fans or this organization. They are clearly the better team, and they have to start playing like the better team the way that they have been doing. And that is what I'm expecting from my Rams. Horns up, Rams Nation. Steve, who are you looking at for tight end?
Well, good luck with that. You know, just like I need some luck with the Ravens, I think I need a little more luck, but the Ravens are, you never know. That division's getting tight. Ravens have an easier schedule. They got players coming back. But let's start with McBride. In the main slate, he's the highest. You can clearly play him. You could do the TPP strategy we talked about, playing him at tight end and then playing another tight end. You know, I do like Harrison. Yeah, I do like Harrison. I skipped over him, but I do it. But McBride's numbers are pretty freaking good. 52 receptions, 476 yards, 5 touchdowns, averaging 6.2, 16 and a half, 29, 21, 9, 12, 15, 13, and 12. These are outrageous numbers for a tight end, okay? These are outrageous. A tight end averaging, because then you go to Kittle, who's averaging 8.4. Now, he's missed some games, but I do like the Kittle play at the $1,500 savings off of McBride. But I really, you want to pay up for McBride, especially in a 2 tight end GPP play. I really like it.
Yeah, I like that too, man. Keep going.
Yeah, but I like what you were talking about dropping down. You got Schultz, 3,600 to score this year. 8 targets, 3 targets, 10 targets, 6, 4. Those are a lot of targets for tight end at 3,600 going against Jacksonville, who gives up, points to the tight end. You got Hunter Henry. Let's say you're playing Drake May again. Here's another guy. 368, 4 TDs, 8 targets last week, 153. So it's a little erratic, but he had 11 targets one week, 4-3. And he's putting up consistent points. You said, last week he only had 3 targets, but he got 2. One was for a touchdown. He's averaging 9.2. These guys in this low range, Hawkinson going against Baltimore. He's only getting 3. He's not getting a ton, but he could score against Baltimore. Our boy Taylor, which we love, Taylor, still only has 1 TD. He can get Njoku. All these guys are really good.
Everybody's got positives and negatives. Everybody's like either they get the ball a lot, or they don't score, or they get a lot of receptions but they can't score. And so it's tight end's always a crapshoot. It's why I punt it so much, because just like last week when I played Ario on the showdown slate, he was low percent owned, and when he caught that touchdown, that's for Seattle. That's what separates you from the rest of the pack, especially on a showdown slate. I think he was 12% owned, so that allowed me to get everything open, huh?
And even the other night when you had Bowers, I won money on the showdown slate, but putting Bowers at captain killed me, which a lot of people did, of course. But McBride is the only one at 6,000. We don't have Bowers on the slate. We don't have Kelsey. We don't have some of these Warren. Some of these big tight ends that are going to cost you $6,000. So it's a perfect way to either play the 2 tight end with McBride or just skip McBride altogether, pay 45 or less. Kittle's a good play at 45. If you think Kittle's going to blow up, that might be as low as you're going to get him all year coming back off of this injury. But under that 4,000 range, there's so many guys you can play.
Yeah, and before we move to defense, I'll also bring up that Dalton Kincaid is huge. Last week, I called the exact touchdown on that when I said that they're gonna use Shakir, and then they're gonna do that wheel route with Kincaid, and it's exactly the play that happened to score that. Again, he didn't even miss a pass. Josh Allen hit him 6 for 6 for 101 yards and a touchdown. That right there, if you sway to him, then you have your leverage, because even though people know about Kincaid, are they going to play Kincaid? And that's sometimes I don't think they are. I think Kincaid's going to be under 10% owned this week.
And just for Chris Kennedy's rankings, you can go Fadden 2 for Cleveland. The problem with the Cleveland the whole way, which we discussed before, is it Fadden or Njoku, But on his rankings, he's McBride number 2, but he's got Kittle 4. Well, you want to say 1,500 and go Kittle? That's a lot of money you could put elsewhere, He's got Laporta, then Kincaid at 7, Pitts, Henry 11, Fannin 12, my boy Theo Johnson, if you're pairing him up with Dart at 13, Urch 13, Andrews 18, 20, so you don't, unless you really, really, really want to pay the $6,000 for McBride, I don't think you need to,
I don't think so unless I agree. The GPP double stack tight end, I think that's the way you go. Probably go Kittle and McBride. Actually, you have that option with one of my ultra contrarian lineups. So that is something that you can, when we get to that part, you'll be able to see. But how do we afford all these players? How do we get it done? You know how I get it done. I'm going to play the Cardinals defense, 2,200 on DraftKings, 3,100 on FanDuel. I bring up the Cardinals defense because JSN's worst game of the year was actually against the Cardinals. And against the Cardinals in that game, the Cardinals had 5 defensive points. That's all I need. They're coming off a game where they practically whooped up Dallas and they got 12 points. And that was another big play for me as well, too. But I feel I love to punt defense, and that's my cheap and defense that's going to be in around 60 to 70% of my lineups. I will also say another defense. Everybody's going to look at the Bills. 3,700 feels a little underpriced for a top defense. Should probably have been around maybe 4,000. So that is a consideration. And they got Seattle the second. I don't trust that. The Cardinals can move the ball, and they've proved that they can move the ball with Brissett behind the center because he's using players like Marvin Harrison Jr. because Kyler Murray, his dumbass, can't even get the ball to one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. That's why he's on his way out, and that is why the Cardinals have a chance. Also, I want the Cardinals to beat the Seahawks and the Rams to win, so the Rams are in first place in the NFC West. What did you expect, people? Steve, who are you looking at?
Oh, you got something against my boy JSN? I don't know, man. I get it, but I don't know. So let's hold on a second. Hold on, I got a burp.
Yeah. So it's, real quick, I'll answer that. Yes, you can run double tight end with Likely. Likely always seems to get those long shot plays. I've been looking at actually Bateman and Likely in that game, but I think I like Bateman a little more because there's always that play where Lamar will step back, chuck it, and you're like, hey, it's going to be Zay Flowers. Nope, it's Bateman, and there's the touchdown.
And being the Raven fan, I'm still not sure how, and that's what happened last year. You'd be like, oh man, somebody's open and it's Likely 60-yard touchdown. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't know yet. And that's the problem. Lamar's so good. Don't argue with me, Steve Bell, Mr. Kansas City fan. Lamar is so good that depending on the day, he might throw one to Hopkins. He might throw one to Andrews. He might throw one to Flowers. He might throw one to Bateman. He might throw one to our boy coming out of the backfield, Kyle, what's his name? So you never know. He might run to. So that's the problem with the Ravens. Bateman, I love it. He's really good. And Bateman is one of those guys that he gets 7 catches, 90 yards, but then doesn't score or something. Or reverse, he gets 3 catches and a touchdown, but only 40 yards. So, I love Bateman. I love the whole don't count these Ravens.
That touchdown by Bateman is going to be over 40 yards. So 40 yards, you want to go bet that. Go bet that plus 30 because that's what Bateman's going to do.
Right, but then he might only have 2 catches the rest of the game. That's the problem, and that's what's so good and scary about DFS when you're betting with the Baltimore Ravens offense, because Lamar Jackson is so good. Yes, Steve Bell, he is. He's better than Mahomes. All right, so what are we talking about? Defenses, sorry. All right, defenses.
I agree with we got Matt Collins is super interesting. While you get to your defense, I just wanted to throw that up. I agree with that as well. Uncle Ted, I do that too. What I like about Matt Collins, that is that sway. I actually picked him up, I think, in the Scott Fish Bowl. So, if I'm picking him up and that's showing big. So you saying Matt Collins, it's great. I got a guy though. Just watch. All right, go on, Steve.
All right, we're talking about paying down. You said Cardinals. If I'm playing GSN, I don't necessarily want to play the Cardinals against him, for example, right? Kind of like the Vikings against the Baltimore D, but don't trust it just yet because I think the Ravens will go off. Saints at Carolina. We already talked about Carolina. Yeah. Now the Saints aren't a great D.
Yeah.
Only 2,400 on DK. If you look at Chris's rankings, they're not high. But let's see, they're number 19. Hey, it's and that's a pretty low price. And then we were also talking about the Giants. Giants at Chicago, 2,500. Another not, but you don't know. I mean, these are low defenses that I can get in my lineup. I really like the Bucks. The Bucks I really like versus New England. They're getting a lot of sacks, a lot of interceptions, a lot of defensive fumble recoveries. New England can turn the ball over a little bit. They have 2 defensive touchdowns. They're averaging 8.5. Now, depending how you work your lineup, depends if you can get to the 2,700 for the Bucks. But I think you could probably pay for New England. I mean, I don't love it, but I'd probably rather pay for the Bucks than New England. You want to pay the Jaguar. All these low-end defenses, you know me. I love to pay low-end. I'm not paying 3,700 for the Bills, okay? I'm not paying 3,600 for the Seahawks. I'm not paying 3,500. The Lions, they could crush the Commanders. Let's be honest with you.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they could destroy them, but do I want to pay that? Do I pay low? I'll let you know. Check Discord. Maybe I will do a lineup with them. We'll destroy them with Daniels this week. The Ravens, I'm not going to pay 3,300 for the Ravens defense. No. I'm looking at that lower. Giants, Saints. I kind of like Saints or Giants, to be honest.
And we've been talking about that for weeks. We have constantly rode, I at least, and you have also agreed with a lot of that. We have rode, even when I said the Giants last week, 3 points. 3 points. I'm fine with that when I'm paying, what was the price was $2,400 last week on DraftKings. I'm fine with that. I'm punting defense. I'm practically punting quarterback, and I'm punting tight end because when we get to the Ultra Contrarian lineups, there is always a rhyme and a reason. That's why we always go on.
Just so you know, in Chris Kenny's rankings, if you want to pay for Lions, they're number 3. Okay?
Yeah.
Browns are 5. Jaguars are 6. That's not bad. Jets are 7. But look, he's got Bills 8. So why would you want to pay for the Bills if they're number 8? He's got the Buccaneers 14. Well, pay the 2,700. Excuse me. Pay the 2,700 or whatever it was for the Bucks instead of 3,700 for the. Pay the 24 for the Saints because remember, this is not IDP people like that league I'm loving with you guys.
Yeah.
This is defenses. A defensive touchdown makes all the difference, and no one. I mean, God himself or herself, whatever you believe, cannot predict defensive touchdowns.
Bro, I do. But not defense.
We can try. But you know what leads to those? Interceptions, sacks, fumbles. So you want teams that do that. You want teams that can pressure the quarterback and yada, yada, yada. But in games, in fans, you got to get lucky to get those defensive touchdowns. So why pay all this money when the Bills could have a great game, score 10 points, but not get a defensive touchdown, yet the Giants get a freak play, and for 1,500, you say 1,500, they score a 60-yard punt return, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And here's the thing is, people got to remember, the weather is changing in the northern hemisphere. We are expecting snow in Erie, Pennsylvania. What do you think Chicago's going to be like? I haven't checked the weather, but if that's sent, it's cold, wet, slippery, just one of those games that you're not going to want to play. Could be windy, right? then that's going to slow that game down. And I think that both those teams are going to slow because the Giants right now love what they got going on with Jackson Dart. He's spreading the ball around. He's scoring a lot, as you talked about when we covered the quarterback section. So,
Chicago, you said?
What was that?
Teams in Chicago?
Yeah, Giants in Chicago.
Yes, 95% chance of rain. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Watch my dart pick. I might come off dart, though that's another way to win GPPs. Play a quarterback in the rain.
Yeah.
In some cases, it actually makes it easier to catch the ball, believe it or not. Some cases actually makes it easier to throw the ball, believe it or not. And you get a defensive back that slips and the receiver knows the route. That defensive back slips, the receiver scores a touchdown. So we've talked about the weather. I'm a weather nut. Check Discord. Yeah. These are what you can get advantages in GPPs. Oh, I don't want to play the weather. Blah, 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 blah. Well, we can get advantages by playing the weather.
You can. LaShawn McCoy made me a few bucks back in those snow games, man. It's great. We got a question real quick. So we got a few people. Colston Loveman coming in from Uncle Ted. And then we also have Cook being talked about. Yes, we love all those guys. But we got a question here. And then we'll get to your core four and then your Fuego pick. Thoughts on Tua and Waddle versus Mariota and Judkins. The prices match perfectly. Right there. So when you see Tua and Waddle, if at some point Buffalo does blow them out or take control of that game completely.
Which side?
Okay, so yeah, go ahead. OSIDD. He's asking what site. Are you looking at FanDuel or DraftKings? So for me, I'm just going to answer that straight up. I do like the Mariota. I like the Mariota Judkins side of that because I feel that Judkins is going to get the ball around 20 times in this game. And that he said FanDuel, Steve. So I feel that that right there gives you a positive. And when you get close with Mariota, you get a chance with the rushing touchdown as well, too. But with Tua, you're not going to get a rushing touchdown. With Tua, you could get 109 yards, a touchdown with Waddle, but I think I would like that for sure with the Judkins and the Mariota side. So that's where I'm going. Yes, he did have a questionable tag, but he does not wear the questionable tag anymore, Uncle Ted. So once I saw that come off.
GPP or a cash game?
GPP or cash game.
What's that?
That's what I just asked them. So OSIDD cash game or GPP.
Here's how I'll answer it either way, okay? And then we'll let, if he tells us, I'll tell you. Tua
GPP.
has not been producing. GPP, okay. So listen, Tua has not been producing recently. He's going to be way lower up, but I don't like it. 9.5, 24, 1.6. 1.6 for a quarterback?
That's Red Rocket Zone. That's Red Rocket Zone. That's Andy Dalton.
Dude, 3 of the last 4, 9.5, 1.6, 9.8. Are you kidding me? Now, you know how I love Waddle. I love Waddle, but just gross from the Tua perspective. Judkins, not necessarily banged up. I love Judkins. We know I love him. Yeah, he had a bad game last week, but let's see here. Expect a big part of the offense this week. Against the Jets, before this past week, he's up and down. But if you're a GPP player, he had 4 points, 26, 3, 16, 21, 16. Take the junk inside. Forget Tua. I love Waddle. You know I love him. Dude, no, you're talking less than 10 points from a quarterback? I mean, me and you can score less than 10 points from a quarterback by falling down,
That's what I'm saying. Dude, Judkins can outscore both of them together. All he needs is 8 yards. And here's the reason. Quentin Williams isn't in New York anymore. He isn't there. He isn't with the Jets. Sauce isn't there. The Browns have a chance to easily win this game and punk the Jets. And it's going to put them in a throwing option, which is why when earlier the Browns defense was mentioned, there it is right there.
I
Let's
think
just bring it up. Jerry Blake.
looking at those Tua numbers because I used to love Tua, but under 10 points, 3 of the last 4 games.
I
That's
can't pay
like,
for that.
what are you doing?
Yeah, I can't. Right now, the Bills are ramming their way through the division, and they're about to punk them as well in their home state. So for me, I completely agree with all of that. Y'all in the NFFC primetime? No. But we wouldn't mind that invite. Maybe one day we'll get an invite to some of those leagues. I know Steve has done some stuff, but hey, speaking of you, it's time. It's time for your core 4, brother man. What are the 4 players that you were looking at that you want to have in most of your lineups?
This is tough. All right. This is tough. I'm going against you. I'm going JSN. Get him in your lineups. I mean, look at these numbers.
I know.
I'm not saying the Cardinals aren't going to do well, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But even in Arizona, he scored 13 points, okay? That was at Arizona, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's his lowest thing of the year. 30, 33, 29, 25, 20, 21, 23. Dude, I'm sorry, dude.
No.
I'm sorry. He's just amazing. And, okay,
Yeah.
if you're right, I'll admit it.
No, I
I'll
love
say
the
you're
play.
right.
I do love JSN. I'm trying to like witch doctor him right now. I'm trying to witch doctor him. Not because of you, because I know you're right.
You know what? The Cardinals can still have a great game with him having a good game. Hey, you never know. He got touchdowns. He throws a big 6. Hey, but 58 receptions, 948 yards. He's on pace for 2,000 yards, man. He's on pace for 2,000 yards and still only has 4 touchdowns. So when those touchdowns are even up, oh, shoot, my buddy's calling me again. Okay, this is the week of going against at home versus Arizona. You're like, oh, well, Arizona. Yeah, but you know what? He's going to get those targets. I mean, I can't even count these targets in my head. 9, 14, 13, 9, 5, 6, 9, 13 targets. These yards, 129, 123, 166, 132. These are in 20.5. He is in my core 4. I dare you to shut him down. I dare you. Okay? So he's in my core 4. All right. Hey, and you know what? Again, like we said, hey, Cardinals can still have a good defensive game, you know?
Yeah.
They could shut.
We can hit it on all facets.
One play by this guy, you got to remember, we're talking receivers. One play, 60-yard touchdown pass, 6 plus 6 is 12, plus blah, blah, blah. He hits his 100 yards. You're talking a 14, 15-point play, whatever it might be.
That's it.
I'm going down. I'm going back to the well with Dowdle. He's 6,300 on DK. 25 attempts last week. Chubba Hubbard, though I love the name Chubba Hubbard. I love the name. I think, you know, this guy's on the other, you know. It's so funny. He's 51 years old. Oh, you're 28. You're too old to play in the NFL. You know, Derrick Henry, you're 30. Oh, my God. I'm 51. You know, I wish, you know, Dowdle, 35 attempts, 130 yards last week. 2 receptions, 3 targets, 11 yards. Okay. I'm playing Dowdle. Against New Orleans. They're the 23rd ranked against the rush. I'm going back to him. So it's Dowdle and it's JSN. I'm going Darnold. I'm pairing up Darnold with JSN. You know what? I love him. Dude, these points, he's averaging 18.8, but that includes a 10.6 and a 6.4 week 1. He's gone 17, 16, 31, 20, 31. It's a tough matchup against Arizona. I get it. But maybe he'll be a little bit lower owned. You could come down off of him. You know, we talked he's 5,800. You could go dart. You could go up to golf a little bit if you want. but I like Darnold pairing him with JSN. Maybe you get him, Arizona number 9 is a pass. So people might be, I don't want to play Darnold. But remember, he's really high in our rankings this week. So you pair Darnold with JSN, okay? You put Dowdle in there. And then what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do, Heat? If I'm playing Darnold and JSN, who am I gonna run it back with on Arizona? Tell me.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Psych, it's going to be your boy.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Look, he had 22.6 DK points last. He was supposed to be one of the best receivers in the league coming into this year. I knew people that took him way high. I knew people in keeper drafts keeping him. He had that big week 1, 18 points, then 4, 7, then he had an 18, then he had 13, then he had 5, 7, 22. 10 targets last week. I know Seattle's got a good defense, but if I'm playing Darnold, I'm playing JSN, I'm running it back at the 5,300 on DK with Marvin Harrison Jr. Why not? I mean, listen, you're talking the son of one of the greatest receivers in the league. You're talking again. I mean, he was. I didn't play this year, but he was a top pick, was he not? And his price has still been right. It's been 55. Yeah, it's a GPP play. If he gets you 7, I apologize. If he gets you a 7, but he could get you that 22, and then he might be lower. He was a little nervous, So run him back against the Darnold at JSN lineup, and that is my core 4 of the.
All right, before we go along, we got a couple things. We did have Jerry Blake come through. Did you hear? Yes, they do have some players out. They did elevate some people from the practice squad to fill in. That could be the key. Of course, those 2 of those players are linebackers. One, of course, being Mac Wilson, a guy that I covered actually last week on one of my IDP articles. So, that's going to be one of those things. I think I'm still willing to take the chance because the divisional game can go either way. It could be one of those good 20s point scoring games, or you could get like what you got, on Thursday Night Football, where you just get this 10-7 game and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Like you're just sitting there completely done with it. You don't want any part of it. And that's kind of sometimes what those divisional games is. And that could be what could hold down the Rams and San Francisco game, which is why I do want to limit my exposure in that game as well too, because I know that the Rams and San Francisco balled out last time, but don't think that they won't have a defensive game. But all this talk, who is your Fuego pick of the week?
Oh, geez, my friends keep calling me. Sorry, man. That's what you got to deal with when you're popping. I'm just playing. All right, my Fuego pick of the week. This is a tough one. I thought about Dowdle. I thought about Odunze going against the Giants. I don't know. She's really good. I thought about your boy, Kyron Williams. He's got a great matchup.
Oh, he does.
I thought about my guard. These are all going to be in lineups I'm about to give. I thought about your macho pick of the week, Derrick Henry. He's going to run wild. You know he is. I mean, we could match up. We could go macho pick, Fuego pick, Derrick Henry. And people, if we get it wrong, we get it wrong. But you know what I'm going to do?
Who you doing?
I'm going Justin Jefferson. Here's what's going to happen. Derrick Henry's going to start running. Well, you know what? They're going to do it. And the Ravens defense, although they're coming back together, and I love Kyle Hamilton, and I love their receivers, Jefferson's gonna torch them. So Jefferson scores a touchdown. Well, you know what? Then Derrick Henry runs. Well, then Jefferson scores a touchdown. Then Derrick Henry runs. So it goes back and forth, then back and forth. So we got your macho pick. We got my Fuego pick. Both great plays in GPPs. both great plays in cash games. Can you stop Jefferson? I mean, can anyone stop Jefferson? And
He's just consistent. He's consistent. You brought it up earlier when we were talking about the wide receivers.
That's right. And he hasn't gone off recently. And who's a team that he could go off against? Unfortunately, my Ravens. Unfortunately, it could be my Ravens. And yes, he's high priced. So if he only gets you 17, 18, 20 points, it's not what you're looking for in GPPs, but it's probably not going to kill you. He'll probably be high owned, so it won't kill you. But if he gets that 30, 40 points, and you run it back with Henry, or you just run him by himself, with or without whoever, you are freaking golden. And I love Kyle Hamilton. I love my boy Ravens. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they got an easier schedule. We won't talk about them too much, but I think Jefferson torches them this week.
I love it. And that's one of those plays. When you brought up the percentages, I think a lot of people are going to be looking at JSN, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Devontae Adams in that area. If they target the San Francisco Rams game, then that's going to leave Jefferson wide open. And that's all right. We got to get to the lineups because this is going to fall blank. Right before we get to the lineups, I do love this right here with Jerry Blake. And thanks, guys. I want to say thank you for stopping through, giving us some comments and talking at us. We're really trying to do the best, trying to make sure that you are all our rich friend. We do believe when I say we have the right cure for all of your fantasy needs. Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Lamar, Andrews. I love that pickup, man. I love it. So, Steve, what's your lineup that you're going to be recommending this week? What is your crazy, crazy lineup?
On the spot, huh? I've been messing as we've spoke. I like to do that, right? I like to mess.
It's always fun to do it live.
I love making lineups. We know this. I've actually been messing with NBA lineups as we speak.
I know, because you got to get to work on that soon, too.
just enjoy making lineups. I think if you've never listened to our podcast, I'm not a tall guy. I was a manager for the basketball team in high school. It got me started on statistics. I think it's what got me so good at this. So here's one particular lineup that, oh man, I like it. I really like it. I'm just debating, all right. So I got a few. Remember, check Discord. Stuff's going to change, okay? Or it may change, it may not. All right. So here we got one. We got Jackson Dart.
Yep.
We got Dowdle. We got your boy Williams at running back. Now, here's the thing. If you switch Williams for Henry, right? That's an interesting move. But just for right now, we got Williams, okay? We got Jefferson. We got Dunze running back against Dart. We got Robinson, Giants wide receiver. We got Johnson, the Giants tight end. And you got Zay Flowers. Now, remember, these might not be in order. Remember, always keep your 1 o'clock games over. And you got Zay. Sorry, I'm getting text again. You got Zay Flowers at flex. And then you got the Saints defense. Okay,
Woo!
I kind of, you know what I'm saying? But let's say you didn't want to go Williams. Let's say you want to run Henry back. All you have to do is Saints down. Let's say you could drop Flowers. Down to let's say if you keep the Saints, for example, you could drop Flowers down to Tracy. Or Diggs versus Tampa Bay. You know what I'm saying? So something like that. So Moore versus the Giants, same lineup. Oh, what if you do that? Moore scored 23 points last week. He had points with zero targets. That must be a mistake. But you know what I'm saying? So those are things you could do with that particular lineup. You could go Tracy. Like you said, you like Tracy. Yeah. You could go Tracy. Any of those things. but that's a lineup that I really like right there.
So it's
But,
going to be
you know,
funny because
better. So go Dart, Dowdle, Henry, Jefferson back against Henry, Adunze versus Robinson, Johnson, Saints D, and then in flex Diggs versus Tampa Bay. I don't know. That's not
be
bad.
open. That's fun. That's
Yeah.
going to be a fun one. Let's go with this optimized lineup from DFS Hero. So we're going to get that. Give our guys shout out. You're actually going to laugh at this. This is kind of funny because this is why I love to do this. So I already have, and Steve has already seen my Ultra Contrarian lineups for both DK and FanDuel. Here is the DFS lineup showing that this show is so in line with what we're going to do. McCarthy, Dowdle, McCaffrey, Flowers, JSN, Jennings, Hunter Henry. I have Hunter Henry in a tight end. That was one of my first Tuesday builds. George Kittle in the Jaguars defense. I love that. You can easily come off the Jaguars and go to the Bucs defense that you were talking about as well too. Saints, Giants, it's all there. That is it, man. I love that lineup. It shows that exactly where we're in line with this right here, where our sways are. But it's about that time. You want to give a couple thoughts about that lineup, and then we'll get to the Ultra Contrarian lineups.
Yeah, sure. I love that lineup, and I was just looking at another. If you haven't watched me and he before, we have paid attention. We're making lineups as we're talking, because I got my Darnold lineup looking really good right now. I got my Darnold lineup looking really good right now. But yeah, no, I love that. I love it. And
guys, you should put that in the Subzoe Discord. Make the people go to Dr. Roto.
I think whoever's out there, he's going to give you plays that are quote unquote more guaranteed to get you that cash. I'm going to give you the plays to go for it, win that, go for those, big things, and so I like all those things. But, again, we always joke that I only have to pay attention because I'm doing lineups as we're talking and stuff like that. But I love those plays. I love those plays. Check Discord. Look, hey, not to stray off topic, but we got F1. My boy Ted's writing today for F1 tomorrow. That's the guy who's following me. Okay, he won money last week. Watch my NBA. I'm going to get some late night lineups in. We got everything, and we got. What do you want? We got it at Dr. Roto, and the office is open. I've been joking that the NBA office is open early this year because usually it doesn't open till Christmas, but it is open early.
All right.
Yeah. God, man, I do a great impression of Doc, or I should say an homage of Doc. But let's continue. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little excited.
To it. You're good.
When you're talking like the best after making the Drake London call, ooh, yeah, you get a little time to talk because the Macho Man, ooh, yeah, respects that Mr. Fuego Steve.
The Ultra Contrarian lineups of the week are on DraftKings: Brissett, Henry, Judkins, St. Brown, Jefferson, Tez Johnson. Oh, you knew I was saving money. Taylor, Tracy, Cardinals defense. Boom. I'm going to get wild. Because I couldn't really get it close, and because my boy Torrey Horton was out, he was going to be a big part of my thing, Mr. 4900 on FanDuel, I had to change it up a little bit, but it's practically the same. Brissett, Henry, Judkins, St. Brown, went Devontae Adams on this one, so I went a different way. Brandon Cooks, with the trade of Rashid Shaheed, you're going to see an uptick. Now, I know that Olave is getting a lot of targets, and we have Kamara getting targets. We have, of course, Johnson getting targets, but Brandon Cooks has been religiously getting a few targets every game. All I want is 2 more targets. Give me 5 targets, 3 catches, 62 yards, 1 touchdown, and that will make that price beautiful. Also, he is 3,400 on DraftKings. I think it's 3,400 on there. Could be 33. Don't quote me to it. I'm not going to go look for it. But I love it. Cooks, Higbee. I went Higbee. Went down, saved a couple bucks because I wanted to get Tracy back in. and I rounded it out with the Cardinals defense. Now, if you want to come off of Tracy, you can get to Trey McBride, and that you can rock with your percent. Those are the ultra contrarian lineups. Steve, your thoughts, and then we'll get up on out of here.
I love it. I love it. I ain't got one more lineup, dude. Dude, I just love making lineups, man. It is just so freaking fun to make lineups. I was sitting here. I posted on Facebook last night, and my buddy's like, dude, you're posting on Facebook at 3 a.m. I'm like, I know. I don't know what to tell you, man. I just love it. Listen to this lineup I got with Arnold, with Darnold. Ready? This is my Seattle. Right? We got Darnold at quarterback. Pair him up with my boy, JSN, obviously, right? Harrison, run it back. Cook and Dowdle. James Cook and Dowdle, right? Shaheed on Seattle. Maybe he got some play from Arnold. Okay. Maybe he got some play from Arnold. Okay. You don't know. I'll be low because no one knows what's going on. But you could always switch that. You go Shakir from Buffalo. Maybe he has a good game. Miami, they're probably going to crush him, right? Right?
Yep.
And then you go to the Buccaneers. Hunter Henry at tight end for New England. And then you go to the Buccaneers defense. I like that lineup. It could change, but I really like that. Shaheed is an interesting play. What's Shaheed going to do? You know, this is the time of year, you know, trades happen. What happens? I can come off Shaheed, but I kind of like that. You can come down from Cook, maybe. You come down from Cook to Henry, go up from Shaheed, but I kind of like that lineup too.
You know, so that's a great GPP play because of the trade. People, like even myself, I would be concerned about his snap count, but he has the skill set that all it takes is, and he runs the Torrey Horton routes, and Shaheed can do that. He's easily going to be able to step in, and I'm going to say this, he'll be under 5% owned, if not under 2% owned.
Exactly, and if you got nervous, you could play Henry and say like, you know, Diggs or Flowers or Samuel or, you know, someone like that, you know, Robinson. But yeah, exactly. You don't know what's he gotten in practice.
That's right.
Check, read, Google stuff. They'll tell you. They might be like, hey, he's ready to freaking go, you know? Yep. He gets 2 passes, 40 yards, a touchdown. Next thing you know, he's 4% owned. You're golden.
That's what we got. All right, Steve, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come through and help out the Pain Bringers and all of the subs and the world for this week's DFS NFL Slate Week 10. It's been a great show. We always have fun. We crazy. We put the game theory down. Also, before we get out, before I hand it over to you to give a goodbye, get ready to catch the single entry show coming up with Danger in them. They got it coming at 9:15. That's what time it's scheduled for. And so that you will be able to go from this show to that show. So they're going to be running a lot of simulators and stuff on the any given entry. They're going to focus on that single entry. So you got your cash game lineup, you have your GPP lineup, you have your simulated lineup. Now you're going to get your single entry lineup. Steve, give me an outro and then I'll squeak us on out of here.
Pay attention to them because that's how you win the money, or at least the beginning. Do your single entries, do your 2 to 3 max. These NBA ones I've been doing, you know, hey, it's 25 cent 20 max, but I'm winning money because if you enter these 150 max and you go against these pros that are putting $20, it's hard to compete. So pay attention to them. Look for my NBA lineups. Look for Ted's F1. If you like racing, I know a lot of people love racing. It's taking over NASCAR. It is the #1 sport. Today, so pay attention to Ted. Pay attention to Steve Bell's NBA picks. I'll get in late NBA picks. Let's win that money. As Doc says.
Yeah. That's right. Take care. But also, get in that subs only Discord right now. Join right now. Because guess what? We got UFC on. We got NBA lineups about to hit. You know how we're going to do this. We're going to make money tonight. We got some knockouts coming, people. Ooh, yeah. Have a great day. And always remember to bring the pain. Ooh-wee.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well and take care.